Since their arsenal of tricks, lies, and manipulations wasn't enough to break someone like you, they carefully planned their game in the hopes that you would fall into their web, but you slipped through like smoke, untouchable and unbroken. They hate that you stood tall, even when they threw their worst at you. In their minds, it wasn't supposed to be this way. You were supposed to fall on your knees and plead for forgiveness, but instead you made Rose smile and made them wonder how someone like you could survive in their world of pretending to be someone else and playing little games. They believed they understood your limits and had pushed you to the limit, but all they discovered was a strength they couldn't fathom, a resilience that made their tactics useless. Now they hate you for proving them wrong. Oh, the audacity of you to refuse to be a pawn in their twisted little chess game, to see through their moves, call their bluffs, and refuse to play by their rules. It enrages them, doesn't it? They prided themselves on being the clever one, the one who could outblast, but they didn't account for you, someone who wouldn't engage someone who wouldn't stoop to their level. They underestimated your spirit, and now they're paying the price. Integrity, or the capacity to rise above it, is what hurts them the most. It's simpler for them to hate you than to confront the truth about themselves. After all, hatred serves as a diversion, preventing them from seeing the imperfections they have worked so hard to conceal when they look in the mirror. They hate you because you made them feel helpless. Their games were made to control, dominate, and manipulate others to suit their will. However, you showed them what true power looks like. The ability to rise, endure, and thrive despite their best efforts to bring you down. Their hatred is a mask for their envy. Deep down, they wish they had what you have: the courage to stand tall, the clarity to see through the lies, and the strength to walk away. Instead, they are trapped in their own games, victims of their own manipulations, trying to paint you as the antagonist. Ironically, they hate you for not breaking, but their hatred is a testament to your strength. Every ounce of venom they spit your way only serves to demonstrate that you are stronger than they could ever be. The narrative makes it seem like you were the issue, but the truth always finds a way to show through, doesn't it? Now that their lies are coming apart, they are vulnerable and filled with hatred. They will spend their nights reliving the events, wondering where they went wrong, trying to convince themselves that it wasn't their fault, that you were simply too tough, too stubborn, or too strong-willed. But they know deep down that they lost because they were defeated, and acknowledged that they couldn't defeat someone like you. You serve as a reminder to them that their games have boundaries, and that despite their perceived brilliance, there are individuals in the world who are unbreakable and uncontrollable. You are their lesson and wake-up call, and their record of hate for you is a testament of their failure. Their hatred is their prison, and you hold the key, but you won't go back to free them because you exposed their weakness and incapacity to control someone as strong as you. You didn't just survive their gains, you transcended them, and now all they have left is their hatred, which eats away at their soul and consumes them while you move forward unhindered. You're too busy living your life to let them hate you, and allow their hatred feed your fire to remind you of your tenacity, strength, and value. Their hatred is evidence that you triumphed and rose above their games because you refused to let them define you. They harbor this hatred because it is their burden, not yours. You shed their toxicity, left their games behind, and took control of your life. Their hatred is their punishment, and a reminder of the person they were unable to stop. Doesn't it burn subtly, like an ember that never goes out? fed by the knowledge that they couldn't control you. Yes, they will pretend to be unconcerned, laugh louder than is necessary, and surround themselves with distractions, but every quiet moment is a confrontation with the truth. You escaped their grasp intact and stronger than they could ever handle. They thought they had control over you, but you weren't. They thought their manipulation could make you weaker and easier to manipulate. Instead, you became a mirror reflecting back their shortcomings, failures, and petty games, and now that reflection haunts them, a constant reminder of how their ego is in ruins and collapsing under the weight of their own insecurities. You didn't simply abandon them, you left them doubting their own value. They believed they were the puppet master, but you cut the threads, leaving them to struggle in their own emptiness. Your actions now demonstrate your independence, your resilience, your refusal to bow down, and with every step forward you take, their hatred grows not because of what you did, but because of what they couldn't do. Break you, they hate that your silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Oh, they crave your attention, even your anger, because it would mean they still mattered, but you gave them nothing. No explanation, no closure, just the cold, hard truth of your absence. And that absence, it's deafening. It echoes through their mind, a void they can't fill. No matter how hard they try, they'll replace, distract, pretend. But deep down, they'll always feel the shadow of what they lost when you walked away. They hate you for your strength, but that strength is exactly why they were drawn to you in the first place. It's the paradox that keeps them up at night. The qualities they admired in you were the very ones that made you untouchable. Oh, they'll tell themselves it was you who was wrong. They'll spin stories, paint themselves as the victim, and gather an audience to validate their lies. But the truth, it lingers, unspoken, a ghost in the room, that only they can see their games they've turned inward. Now the manipulator has become the manipulated, caught in a web of their own making. Every lie they told, every deceitful move, they haunt them, now replaying endlessly in their mind. And you've risen above it all. Untouchable, unreachable. They hate you because you've shown them a world beyond their games, a world they'll never understand, because they're too busy trying to win battles that no longer matter. They hate the way you glow, now brighter than ever, as if their attempts to dim your light only made it stronger. Your resilience is a beacon, a spotlight, shining on their failures, their insecurities, their inability to control someone as powerful as you. They hate that you're thriving, that you found peace, happiness and purpose without them. It eats away at their pride, their ego, their sense of self, because in their world, they were supposed to be the center of everything. And you shattered that illusion. Every success you achieve, every smile you wear, every step you take. It's a blow to their fragile ego. They'll never admit it, but they watch from the shadows, seething with jealousy, anger and regret. They hate you because you didn't just walk away, you walked into a better life, one they'll never be a part of. They thought they were irreplaceable, but you proved them wrong, and now they're left clinging to the pieces of a reality that no longer exists. The way they talk about you, how they respond to your achievement, and how they attempt to persuade themselves that they don't care at all, are all signs of a hate that stems from their own failure. Even if they will seem as though they're okay and have gone on, they despise you because you revealed that their games, manipulations, and attempts to manipulate you were all reflections of their own frailties. Now that they must confront this reality every day with no one else to blame but themselves, they detest that you have found freedom while they are still caught in their own toxic cycles. That liberation is the ultimate kind of retribution, demonstrating your power and their failure. You broke free, flew higher, and left them behind. Their hatred is a chain they'll carry forever, a constant reminder of what they lost and what they could never have again. And you've left those chains behind, walking forward into a future they can only dream of. Let them hate, my dear. Let them stew in their own venom, their own regret, their own self-inflicted misery. Their hatred is their burden to bear, not yours. You've risen above it all, unbroken, unbothered, and unstoppable. You are the embodiment of resilience, the proof that their games, their manipulations, their hatred, it all falls apart in the face of true strength. You are the lesson they never wanted, but desperately needed. And now they hate you for being everything they could never be. They hate the silence you left behind, a silence that speaks volumes louder than any argument ever could. In that void, they hear their own shortcomings, their own mistakes echoing back at them. It's not you they hate. Not really, it's the reflection of themselves they see. In your absence, you've become a mirror they can't shatter, showing them the cracks they've tried so hard to ignore. And as they watch you rise, as they see you thrive, their hatred festers, not because you've done anything wrong, but because you've done everything right. You've chosen yourself, your peace, your happiness, and left them behind in their chaos. That, my dear, is the ultimate victory, the sort they'll always envy, and the kind they'll never comprehend. They will attempt to hide their hatred by acting as though it doesn't exist, but you can see it in their eyes, their behavior, and the way they speak about you. Their hatred is a scar that will always be a reminder of their failure.